With just 2 hours of work per week, we created a client nurture system that doubled our lead to close rate and added $70,000 in lifetime value each month to our business. If you don't know me, my name is Gill Valerio, and from 2020 to right now, currently, I've generated over 8 million in profit from digital marketing. And my personal mission is to create 100 digital marketing millionaires by 2026. I share this with you, not to brag or not to flex, but to help you cut through all of the unqualified advice that's out there. We did this by creating content that was easy for our prospects to consume, and they actually wanted to consume it. It didn't require hours of production. It didn't require thousands of dollars in cameras and video equipment or lighting. It didn't even require scripting, content planning, or ideation. So when we started consistently spending over $15,000 per month on meta ads inside my agency, I noticed a major problem. A large percentage of prospects who clicked on our ad, and even those who opted in, never showed up for a sales call. We've all experienced this. Half the battle is just getting prospects to actually show up to a sales call. But once they do show up, we still need to get them to buy. So for a long time, our lead to close percentage was under 10%. In fact, it hovered around 7%. That means that less than 1 in 10 leads actually converted into a paying customer. Now, that figure is pretty standard in the industry. You have probably heard agencies or even your own customers complain that Facebook leads are terrible, the quality is bad, they're tire kickers, they're not serious. We spend all of our time chasing down leads. And while some of this can be true, here's the reality. This is completely normal human behavior. A lead is a person. I hate when agencies say, oh, the leads are bad or these leads are low quality. I always ask, what does that even mean? Aren't all leads just people, just humans? If they clicked our ad and submitted their information, that means that at minimum, they at least had a thought in their head that they had a problem that we might be able to solve for them. So I asked myself very simple, basic questions like, what is a low quality lead? What is a high quality lead? And here is the very simple answer that I came up with. A high quality lead is someone who is bottom of funnel and is ready to buy. A low quality lead is someone who is top of funnel and not yet ready to buy. And then I thought to myself, hold on, wait. I have customers who were once low quality leads, but eventually they bought from me. So what changed with those people? Did I just wait around until they magically called me up and they were ready to give me their money? No, something happened in between. So I asked those clients and I realized that most of these people consumed something of mine, content, conversations, or they had multiple interactions with my sales team. They became more familiar with me and my agency. That's when I asked myself, how do I continue spending $15,000 to $30,000 per month on ads and improve my lead to close rate without just waiting for people to move down the funnel whenever they decide to consume something of mine? And here's the simple answer. I needed to accelerate their trust in me. And that's when I came up with a simple, free, and scalable solution. I needed prospects to get to know me sooner, to trust me sooner, and to see me as an authority in their niche sooner. If I could do that, they would move down the funnel faster and be more ready and willing to buy. But how could I accomplish all this without building some big brand or Instagram following, spending thousands of hours on content production, wasting thousands of dollars, waiting years of my life until my following grew? So that's when I came up with a plan. I leveraged something that was simple, that was free, and that was widely adopted and used by most people, which is Facebook groups. So I created the Facebook group and podcast system. But I didn't just throw everyone into a Facebook group and hope for the best. I had to be consistent. I had to establish authority. I had to prove that I was an expert and I knew what the hell I was talking about. I had to build trust. So we developed our Facebook group plus our podcast system. So here's where most agencies get it completely wrong. They think they need high production value. They think they need expensive mics and cameras and studio setups. They think that they need professional distribution on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, on whatever. I found out that all of that isn't true. So here's how we simplified the process. We created a Facebook group that was specific to our niche. Every prospect who entered into our pipeline received an invite to that group. We would entice them with free resources like an ebook, a guide, a checklist, something that helped add value to their business. And then every week, we hosted a live podcast on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We simply jumped on a Zoom call with a guest that was relevant to our niche. We streamed that interaction live to the group so members would receive notifications. And that video, that interview remained in the group for future prospects to consume and watch. We had engaging, valuable conversations that built trust and credibility with those that watched it. And the results? We doubled our lead to close rate from 7% to 14% conversion. That might not sound dramatic, but when you're spending $20,000 per month or more on ads, that is a huge impact. For leads that accepted our invite to the group, we went from closing 6 high-ticket clients per month to closing 13 high-ticket clients per month. And with an LTV over $10,000 per client, we added an additional $70,000 in revenue each month, simply by creating a free Facebook group, offering a free resource, and hosting a 1-hour live podcast every week that we didn't even post on any professional production outlets. And there is actually compounding benefits above and beyond just closing more sales. This system and this group keeps growing. So as we run more ads, we get more leads to enter the group. And as more leads join, more people consume our content. And as more people consume our content, more prospects end up becoming clients. But that's not all. We also realized after the fact, this wasn't planned, we realized that our guests, they loved being on our podcast. People love being on podcasts. They love getting invites. Some prospects who wouldn't book a sales call with us would gladly accept an invitation to be on our podcast. And then after being interviewed, we built rapport with those people, and many of them became paying clients shortly after their podcast. And after figuring this out, we would target influential people in our niche that either had a large network or a coaching group or whatever it may be, and we would invite them on. And a lot of them afterwards would invite us to either speak at one of their events or host a booth at one of their events, or we would become a preferred vendor and they would push our agency out to their entire community. So here's how you can implement this in your business. And if you want to improve upon it and make it better than we did, you can do some of the following things to get better results. Now, we didn't do a lot of this, but you can post more content inside your group. You can give away more free value inside the group. You can go live more often than just your podcast. You can engage with your leads inside the group. You can comment, you can ask questions, you can put up polls. But even if you just follow this basic structure, like we did in my agency, you will close more deals. And here's the craziest part. We still have never published one episode of our podcast on any major platforms. Why? Because we're not trying to get 20,000 downloads. We don't care. We're not trying to compete with the Joe Rogan experience. Our goal is very simple. We want to establish authority with our leads in our niche. We want to build trust and rapport with our leads. And we want to increase the conversion rates of those people. If you want the exact setup that we use inside my agencies, how we structure our groups, how we nurture the leads inside the group, how we conduct the interviews and the podcasts, and how we get guests to say yes to our invites, and also just ensure that the conversations remain compelling, click the link in or around this video, and I'll send you our entire process.